Okay, hi, hello, how is everyone? Before I get into the review today, which is Superman Public Enemies, or Superman Batman Public Enemies, I'm gonna be, doing a bit of a cheap plug. In the description you can see all of my social medias, check them out, they're fun, they're good. I post a lot of stuff to do with the channel over there and on the social medias. Facebook page is something that I want to, promote a bit more. So yeah, everything's in the description below. And without further ado, let's get on with the review. Oh, poet, and I didn't even know it. Superman Batman Public Enemies. This may be my least favourite of the books so far. Not that it's bad by any means, it's not. It's just so much happens within the space of the 6 issues that are collected in this. It a little difficult to keep track of. For example, I'm going to give a brief synopsis of the plot. So Batman and Superman meet up in Gotham City after finding that Metallo, who had recently died, was now back alive. And they get in a fight with Metallo. With Batman believing that Metallo was the one who killed his parents. This ends up becoming a falsehood, but yeah, at this point Batman believes that John Corbin Metallo killed his parents. During the fight, Superman gets shot by a kryptonite bullet, forcing Batman and Superman to flee. Whilst this is happening, just as a little reminder, the President of the United States at this time is Lex Luthor. And what is going on at the moment is there is a meteorite of kryptonite. There's a kryptonite meteor heading straight for Earth. And Lex Luthor uses this as a way to set up Superman, as a way to make him public enemy number 1. So he enlists a strike force of superheroes to fight against them. Who they are, I will reveal later. So Batman and Superman go back to the Batcave, and whilst here, a Superman from the future comes in and has a little fight with Batman and Superman, and their fight is short-lived because Superman of our timeline shoots the older Superman with a kryptonite bullet, the same kryptonite bullet that was shot into him earlier. And this is when Lex Luthor tells the world, yeah, there's a bounty on Superman's head. He's the one that's bringing this kryptonite meteor to Earth. This, because of course there's money involved, signals a load of supervillains. First of which being Silver Banshee, to attack Batman and Superman. Silver Banshee is not the only one. We've got Captain Cold, Mr. Freeze, Icicle, Killer Frost, Solomon Grundy, and Mongol for some reason. And it's revealed here that these villains aren't working off of their own back, because of course Mongul wouldn't. He's a world conqueror. He's not gonna really want $1 million. And after this, Lady Shiva comes in, and there's a little fight with Lady Shiva. A villain called Nightshade comes in as well. And it's also revealed that the villain that's controlling all of these people's minds is Gorilla Grodd. Then we have a massive double-page spread of almost every villain in the DC Rogues Gallery fighting Batman and Superman, until they are stopped by the task force that Lex Luthor brought together, which is Green Lantern, Black Lightning, Katana, Starfire, Major Force, and Power Girl. So Batman and Superman fight all of them. Somehow they miraculously win. It's revealed that Katana and Power Girl are like moles, and most of the task force aren't actually working for Luthor. The only one that's actually a credible threat is Major Force, because he's not actually a good guy. So Major Force basically becomes like a nuclear bomb, essentially, and blows up in the middle of Tokyo, and Captain Atom has to absorb all of the power. And because this has failed, we have the old JSA, and they send Captain Marvel, Shazam, and Hawkman to fight Batman and Superman, and they win, seemingly. However, in the next issue, we have all of the families of our two lead characters. So we have the Superman family, which is Krypto the Superdog, Superboy, not Supergirl, but S-Girl, and Steel. And then we have the rest of the Bat family, which is Huntress, Robin, Nightwing, and Batgirl. And they both get themselves in a bit of a predicament, with the Bat family basically being trapped inside, with the Superman family basically being trapped inside this ever-tightening lead-encased ball which has kryptonite inside it. And the Bat family comes across Lex Luthor and proceed to get their asses kicked by Lex Luthor. And else when not Major Force, Captain Atom is talking to the old Superman, the future Superman from the future, who tried to kill our universe, our timelines, Batman and Superman, and he basically tells Captain Atom, you need to do this thing, or you need to make sure that this specific thing happens, in order for the world to not be destroyed. And we get a whole lot more action, and what is seemingly Hawkman busts in, and he uses a lockpick to break out S-Girl and Superboy. It's then revealed that the Hawkman that came in was actually Batman in disguise. Then Shazam, or what we think is Shazam, comes in and tries to and basically strangles Lex Luthor and Superman instead. He's about to kill Lex Luthor until they get a radio transmission saying that their big weapon is ready, and they're ready to beat up this, or like take care of the asteroid that's going to hit Earth. And Lex Luthor puts on this ridiculous looking suit of armor. We get a double page spread of the big bad weapon that Batman and Superman are going to be using, and of course it's a like combination of the two. I like how in a monologue, Superman is actually the cynical one, and Batman is the one that's like, Robin had the similar designs for the Batmobile, and I found them inspired. So it's nice to have that kind of flip, where, you know, Superman is being cynical and Batman's being kind of, you know, the nicer one of the two. And then Captain Atom comes along and he's like, no, I have to pilot it, not Superman. The Superman piloting it is what makes the world die. So meanwhile, whilst Captain Atom is piloting this big robot, Superman is having a big smackdown drag-out fight with Lex Luthor in this kryptonite-powered suit of armor. Superman obviously wins. And then it's Batman's turn to do a bit of beating him up, or beating up on Lex Luthor. And then it seemingly is like Lex Luthor's dead because he fell out of a building. Of course he's dead. Of course he's going to be dead, isn't he? No! Not dead. He's not dead. His final words, or the last thing said at the end of this book is, there will be a reckoning, a crisis. When is there not a crisis in DC? Come on. When is there not a crisis? You're having one right now with Heroes in Crisis. Yeah, there's a crisis bloody every day in DC. Come on. But the aftermath is, you know, about 2 pages long, and we get a backup story, which is when Clark met Bruce. And the like backup issue, the Silver Age or Bronze Age, Golden Age, either one of the two. The Bronze Age story that we get in the back is the Superman issue 76 double feature. And I don't read the backup stories, but mainly because that kind of style of writing, I find it annoying and a bit hard to read. But the book itself is good. There's nothing wrong with it. But it is very, you know, there's definitely a lot going on. There's definitely a lot going on. As you can tell from my synopsis, which is about 13 minutes, there's so much going on in this book. There's so much action. There's so many, like, characters involved to what eventually just ends up being a fight between Superman and Lex Luthor, it is good. I do like it, but there's so much going on that it does get a little confusing, and by the end, where so many characters are doing so many different things, and there's some things here that are told but not shown, which is a story trope that I hate. I absolutely despise. Apart from when it's done well, but this book does not do it well. Like, in one page, we'll see Batman and Superman on the floor, almost dead, almost being just destroyed by Shazam and Hawkman, and then we see in the next page they're fine and they've beaten up Shazam and Hawkman. So what? I don't know. The art at least is really good. It's that kind of, it's Ed McGuinness, so it's that really like overly proportioned, really big muscles, you know, the like really defined lines. Trying to find a page that represents it well. Probably that page represents it the best. It's that kind of very over the top comic book style, but it's a style that like is synonymous. I'd say it's more synonymous with DC than Marvel, really. The very stereotypical big, like, bulky superhero kind of style. Also, another thing, Ed McGuinness never really likes to draw eyes. He always kind of just draws like a black thick line instead of eyes. He very rarely draws eyes in this book. And when he does draw them, they're like, again, very expressive, which I personally like. I personally like the expressive nature of it, but again, the art does get very kind of messy towards the end, and it does kind of get a bit sloppy towards the end. But yeah, mainly for Shazam. I don't think he ever draws Shazam with his eyes open. Yeah, Shazam is never drawn with his eyes open in this, which is weird. But yeah, I enjoyed the book, but it's in no means amazing or stellar. It's definitely a drop down in quality from the last few books that I've read. I'd say the only thing in this that's better than anything in the last few books that we've seen is the artwork. The rest of it, the actual writing, the pacing, and the storyline itself, it doesn't really make sense, and it's kind of a bit like it's just events strung together, and it's fights for the sake of fights. It's kind of like Iron Man 2 in that way. It's just action scenes for the sake of action scenes, and there's not a lot of downtime, which may be good for some people, but for me, I could have done with a bit more like personal stuff. And we do get that in the internal monologues, but I would have preferred to have more scenes of, you know, Batman and Superman on their own, as opposed to Batman and Superman with Power Girl, with Katana, with Captain Atom, fighting all these other characters, with Captain Marvel, Shazam. I would have preferred seeing something like that, as opposed to seeing, I would have preferred to see Batman and Superman on their own, or just Superman and Batman, as opposed to Superman and Batman and everyone else in the DC universe. But yeah, I did enjoy Superman and Batman. Probably rate it 3 stars. Rate it 3 stars. It's good, but it's not excellent, and it's not great either. If the artwork was, you know, anyone else, I'd probably give it 2 stars, but it's 3 stars because of Ed McGuinness's art. But yeah, see you guys in the next video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share this video with your family and friends, and yeah, peace.